Y viniendo a ti en vivo desde Tahoe Park, Sacramento. Tenemos la 8S edición de Sentimiento Latino. Soy tu anfitrión, Yakuzaku, y conmigo tengo el mismo Rusin asado Light VIP. Saluda, hola.
Bienvenidos todos, aquí estamos con Sentimiento Latino 86. Mate, your broken Spanish was amazing. You're like
choice.
8 and 6, of course. What's up, everyone? We are live with Sentimiento Latino number 86. I am Light_VIP, and with me, I have, kind of a special guest to these tournaments, Yakuzaku.
Hello, I am the Singapore Jim.
We can confirm.
It's not only are we getting a rare caster, we're actually also getting a rare player in around these tournaments today.
Yeah. I think this may be his first. I think this is his first one for 2020.
Okay. And speaking of first one, here we are gonna be spotting in on the bottom left-hand corner of the map, spotting in the bottom left-hand corner of the map, that map being Everdream LE, where here we are looking at the blue Protoss all the way from, wait, Dastan is Chile. He is going to be representing Alpha X LatAm. We have Dastan.
And spawning in the top right-hand corner of Everdream LE, we have the Mexican Zerg player himself. We have the streamer, the Yakuzaku of Mexico. We have JimRising. What's up?
I'm just liking his clan decal, so.
What is? God damn it.
Good old Trafalgar Law.
Yeah. And I mean, we've casted a lot of him in ESO Open Cup Asia of all things.
Today. Because truly, that's where his soul really is at.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but now that things have changed and he's no longer playing in them since they're on Mondays now, maybe he's starting to change a little bit to play in some of these other tournaments. It was honestly kind of surprising to see him show up. Like, I was not expecting that at all.
I don't think any of us were, and neither were any of the other casters, really.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which is why this became one of the more popular matches cast here on the 8 edition of Sentimiento Latino.
Yeah, it's a bit of a treat, it almost never happens, so everyone wants to get in on this. We have the French caster in here, we have Spanish as well as Portuguese, so we're all here. We all want to see how Jim does, because Jim, he's an interesting player in that he used to be like a pro player, like he used to that used to be his main focus, and now he's become more of like a personality in the scene.
And what a personality that is.
Yeah.
I'll never forget his chicken dance.
No, that's ingrained in my memory forever. It's beautiful.
And speaking of ingrainments, we do see a Stargate opening starting off with Dastan. Now, is this something that he typically does?
I mean, yeah, this is a lot more standard. For whatever reason, like Adept openers like with glaives aren't as common. They are still seen, but it is cool to see Dastan, switch things up, going for Phoenixes instead.
Yeah. Thinking we might be seeing an Oracle shortly after this. One thing I do know about JimRising is he does very much enjoy his Ling play coming up a lot.
Yeah.
So Dastan
Definitely.
is aware of this, which I'm guessing he is. There's that Oracle. Should be able to come up with some kind of defense that'll probably work pretty well.
Yeah, and I mean, Jim, he already scouted the Stargate with his Overlord, so he should be getting ready for it. I'm a little bit concerned because it looks like he's working on his Queen production instead, but being this greedy, it means that you need to have your queens in position for the correct base.
Absolutely. It's just a little, yeah, it's just a little bit less reliable at this point in the game to just be running your queens back and forth. The Oracle is about to come in.
Oh, and behind this, we have a second Stargate.
Alrighty then. It's just going to be one Oracle? Okay. I like it.
Yeah.
I like it a lot. I'm not sure. Well, I suppose it would be more on JimRising, right? To scout this and react to it. I'm not sure exactly how a double Stargate Phoenix play would work out in this sort of scenario, but
yeah.
I'm liking it so far.
It's weird because I do like mass phoenixes against certain compositions like Roach Ravager or even Hydra, like in low numbers, but against mass Ling, which 20 Lings are on the way plus 1 melee is on the way as well, like phoenixes are not what you want against this.
Yeah, definitely not. Even if you lift them one by one,
yeah.
How many phoenixes do you have that can really take them out? Ooh, good use of the stasis ward here. Does get quite a number of these drones, as well as the injecting queen. JimRising is getting a Baneling nest behind this, so this is going to be a straight-on Bane bust. And again, Dastan, he focused more on his phoenixes instead of his oracles, and this is not going to be looking too good. Does see that there are a lot of links coming his way, and does kind of pay the price for this. So you should be seeing him switching it up fairly soon, maybe?
Yeah, I mean, the third gets cancelled, all the units get taken out as well, and the Baneness isn't quite done yet. But the Oracle is going to run out of energy. It's not going to be able to defend against this. There are a lot of Phoenixes. And
they can lift the Banelings.
Yeah, that's what it's going to have to be about, where so far he hasn't scouted any of them, but he needs the Phoenixes to focus on the Banelings, and if he doesn't, oh no, he's moving out.
Of them. Oh no, Dastan.
Oh
if
god.
only Protoss had scans.
I mean, he has an Oracle on top of the army, and then maybe when he sees the morphing Banelings, he'll come back, but it may be too late.
Definitely, yeah, that's definitely quite a big if. Does have recall available to him, and is mowing down a lot of these, what should we call it, overlords.
Yeah.
Getting rid of the supply of your Protoss, not Protoss, Zerg opponent. It's definitely one way to prevent them from trying to bust through into your natural.
Yeah, surprisingly, after all those overlords die, Jim he isn't really supply blocked. he's still okay.
Well, he's about to be capped.
Yeah, and I'm surprised that he hasn't made any Banelings at all. He's getting a fourth base. He's getting drones. He's getting a Spire. He's not going all in.
A Spire versus Phoenixes? Well, Corruptors are pretty good, yeah.
Yeah, and he picked up an egg.
Wait, I didn't even know you could do that. Hold up. I didn't even know that was possible. I thought they were considered structures.
Oh my god.
Queens are being evaporated right now, and yeah, these mass Phoenixes, it really does go to show just how potent they can be when you kept them hidden for so long, when you catch your Zerg opponent off guard like this.
Yeah, and Jim, he still hasn't done anything with these Lings. Like, to be fair, he has contained his opponent. Depths. Yeah, that's a lot of Glaive Adepts that can definitely deal with these Lings and move out across the map. We have Glaives as well on the way, so this is looking kind of scary for Jim.
That it very much so is. These Phoenixes do not even care about spores. They know just how high in numbers they are. They just swoop in and take out a drone and swoop out. 14 of them already going down. Although JimRising still ahead in worker supply. I like this nice, neat, orderly queue of adepts.
This is a lot of adepts.
Everyone.
That's an insane amount of adepts.
It's actually looking like a snake.
Oh my god. So
marching along.
Yeah, and the Lings are completely caught out of position. There are Corruptors on the way, but Corruptors, they don't shoot down.
No, they do not. I don't think even Mutalists, despite shooting down, would be enough to deal with this.
Yeah.
So many adepts. Once again, the Lings just streaming in and kind of getting caught off guard. They are getting some nice surrounds on a couple of isolated adepts, but I'm not sure if it's going to be enough. It might actually be. Barely. These are upgraded Lings, or rather Lings with +1.
Yeah,
a couple of roaches are popping up to support them.
The Lings actually have +2, so they were just munching away at those adepts, but...
yeah, that's a little more potent.
Yeah, even so, 24 workers went down. The roaches are going down as well. Oof.
Way too isolated. They do not have any backup. This is what happens when all of your queens get taken out like that. Trying to mineral walk right now, JimRising is, and look at that, 31 drones. JimRising went from being ahead by like about 20 workers to now being behind by 20 workers. But these corruptors getting quite a bit done, and this is the only, well, not the only mining base, but the freshest base that Dastan has. Dastan is basically all in at this point. JimRising is just gonna have to scramble the defense up, but once, if he's able to, should be able to really turn the tides of this game, potentially even take the victory.
We're in such a weird position where Dastan is on one base economy,
42 drones. GG. 56 drones sticking out towards the end there. That was a continuous assault coming out from Dastan. Wow. Wowie.
Wow.
I really like what JimRising was sort of planning that game, right? Just trying to keep Dastan contained for as long as possible, pretty much, and just keep him down on those 2 base economy. And we did see him try to utilize that by going pretty greedy, but unfortunately didn't quite get the full scout off on Dastan. Didn't know what was coming out for him.
I definitely
got sucker punched.
Yeah, I definitely feel like Jim should have gone for his original plan, because it looks like he saw all the Phoenixes and then he was just focusing on Phoenix defense instead of going for that Bane bust. I honestly believe that Bane bust could have just ended the game. Like, Dastan was not in position at the time for it at all, especially with his Phoenixes moving out across the map. But instead, Jim, he kind of panicked a little bit. He gave up on that idea. He didn't make a single Baneling that game, even though he had that Baneling nest, and yeah, kind of saw the price he paid for that.
Yeah, I kind of feel like giving up on that Baneling bus was the safer choice. Again, not sure if it was the right choice, but it was definitely the safer choice. But in the end, I think it's, as you said, Jim was focused a bit too much on the Phoenixes. He went all the way back home with his Zerglings. Didn't realize just how many adepts Dastan made. And again, just paid the price for it. Oh, Kuro made a clip.
She did.
That's going in duct tape at some point.
It will, and yeah, I'm just interested just because of how closely matched these 2 players are. Like, definitely could have gone either way.
And speaking of closely matched, here we are going to be coming in on Nightshade, otherwise known as Belladonna, or I guess since I'm casting Sentimiento Latino, it would be Belladonna, otherwise known as Nightshade. L-E. L-E, of course, does in fact stand for Legacy Esports. Legacy Esports. You see, I'm not casting a ANZ thingy, so I get to finally say that. In the top left-hand corner of the map, spawning in the top left-hand corner of the map, we have the blue Protoss, all the way from the land of the chills. He is the chill man himself, the one fine guy representing Alpha X LatAm edition, or roster. No, wait, division. We have Dastan.
And
JimRising things.
Spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Nightshade LE, but also with a proxy hatch, we have the Mexican Zerg player representing Timbers Esports. We have JimRising.
Now, we've seen JimRising do this before. Dastan technically has the proper response, but does he have the response to JimRising's follow-up?
That's the question, and I do like that Dastan is being annoying, denying the natural as long as he can. He's like, you know what? If you don't let me get a natural, you don't get a natural either. Oh my god.
But I already have my natural. It is your natural.
I mean, in a way, like, it is getting pretty close to getting taken out, so Dastan should be able to... There it is, deal with it. Ooh.
There it is, the Evo block on top of that. But unfortunately, there's just a little bit too much firepower there. JimRising is going to have to be backing away. And actually should be able to get that done. Gets his natural base in the third base location. And that's a very aggressive place to get a base.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's a little more aggressive. It's a lot. I've heard Zerg players mention how it's easier to defend your third if you take your natural here, because you're able to spread creep and take out the rocks and make this like a better defensible position. At the same time, you know, you can also spread creep more aggressively. You can also push out more. So yeah, interesting that JimRising went for this base.
He is all about that aggression.
Yeah, as we saw last game.
Yeah.
Oh,
and not gonna be changing things up too much this time either.
Yeah, so far, I mean, he's making another wave of Lings, which is a little bit interesting to say the least. Ling speed is on the way as well, so Jim looking to apply a little bit of pressure, just a bit, as he is a little bit supply blocked.
Yeah, scouting overlords do have a tendency to do that. Did not scout this Twilight Council, which could put him in quite a bit of trouble. The Lings are moving across the map though, and if they're able to just take out this Adept or this Zealot, which again might be a bit of a tough ask, but these Lings could stream in and get a scout. Just abandoning his post a little bit, does not want to get that done, but thankfully will retreat and fill up that hole. Nicely done there by our Chilean Protoss player.
Yeah, nicely done. He's able to plug that up. He's a little bit afraid, so he is throwing down a shield battery as well, just in case there is a Bane Bust or a Ling Flood coming. So nicely done. No sentry, as sometimes that is also another response to be defensive, as we do have that Glaive Adept on the way.
Into hell-o.
Yeah, I mean, Adepts, they did wonders for him last game. This time, he's going to be getting them a lot faster. There's no Stargate this time. And, yeah, it's going to be on Jim to scout it. And he should be able to, especially with Overlord speed.
That he should. Going to be going all the way in here. And we did see from the previous game just how important denying the scouting information can really be for the Protoss player. JimRising does get a good eyeful here. Knows something is being researched, so that should bring up a couple of alarm bells in his head. Roach Warren was already thrown down prior to this, so yeah, now it's just a case of getting those roaches up. And again, as we were saying, that third base location, much better position for Jim.
Oh yeah, definitely. So he should be in a decent position. He should have enough units out, as we do have a Dark Shrine follow-up behind this as well.
Alrighty then, and you know what deals pretty well against Roach's Light? It is Darkons.
Yes,
Dark Templar and I didn't mean the Brute War unit.
Not the Red Archons. Yeah.
That would be so annoying though with like team killers.
That would be a nightmare to deal with. And Jim, what I'm worried about is he doesn't have creep connecting his bases, so Glaive Adepts, they're gonna be a lot more difficult to deal with, especially to maneuver like queens and roaches in between all his bases. So he does have to be a little bit careful. I do like that his army is positioned here in the center, so he can respond.
It's kind of like this is kind of like how Terran sort of defends in TVT, just having a bunch of their units and sort of in between their bases unsieged.
Yeah.
Again, it's a really good way to deal with it. Does rely on quick reactions, but we do see that JimRising has those reactions.
Yeah, and Dastan
even knew about the Warp Prism. Wow.
He had a queen in position, and Dastan's getting a little bit of everything. Like, behind these Glaive Adepts, we've got a Robotics Bay on the way as well. Jesus Christ. So, yeah.
Showing those Disruptors.
Disruptors or Colossus?
I feel like it could really go either way. I don't think it's going to be Colossus from Dastan. He's only on 2 bases right now, and in a PvZ, you need a lot of Colossus before you can really get value from them. Yeah. And on 2 base economy, you're not going to be getting a lot of them. It's probably more likely it's going to be a handful of disruptors. Now watch as Dastan gets like chrono boosted and Colossus out. Yeah. A lot of roaches coming out from JimRising. He has dealt with these adepts very, very nicely. Only 6 drones going to be going down, which if this was about a minute and a half early in this game, that would have been amazing value. At this point, not quite what Dastan was looking to get.
Yeah, it took, oh my god, he almost lost a rallied Immortal as well. Jesus Christ. That would have been such a big blow for Dastan, but yeah, he waited a very long time to actually do anything with his Glaive Adepts. It felt like he initially went for it, and then he decided that maybe this wasn't the best decision. Maybe Jim was a little bit too prepared going into, as you were saying, Disruptors, as one is already done. Should be working on a couple more. But is it too late? Like, there's a lot of roaches already out.
It seems like it. Just look at the army supply difference. Like, yeah, that is over twice for JimRising, and these roaches, man, it goes burr.
It does. Ooh, decent force fields, but again, it's gonna be all about that disruptor shot, and if it gets a good enough hit, as the roaches are pushing into the natural, and oh god.
But I tell you what, like, when you have only 1 disruptor, it's just that much more difficult to really apply pressure on your Zerg opponent. GG is called, and JimRising gonna be tying up the series sideways 1-1.
Tied up.
Tied up. And we were talking a little bit about JimRising's personality earlier today, Light, and I gotta tell you, this is one of those things that is pretty characteristic about Jim. When he is down in the series, that's when he really goes sort of, what you would call it, he switches up how he plays really drastically. I think in the past we've seen JimRising played very cheeky game number 1, lost, and in game number 2 decided, I'm gonna double down.
Yeah, and I did want to mention that Jim is an interesting story. He's a player who I don't know if you remember, but he used to be on Root Gaming, as with a lot of Latin American players. Yeah, he actually wanted to be on Root Gaming for a long time. He was like practicing really hard. He was like trying to get in, and every single time Cats would deny him. But eventually, I feel like it was 2015, I think. Eventually, Cats was like, you know what? You keep trying. You've been performing well in Copa. You're getting in. You're getting in. And it was like this big moment for Jim's career. Like, he was finally on like a pro team. And he went to the Root House. He was practicing with Cats. Cats took him under his wing and, like, you know, made him the aggressive Zerg he was. And he was actually doing really well. I remember him actually playing really well in StarCraft Clan Wars for Root Gaming. So
that Root basically disbanded. They're still going on till this day. They still have whatchamacallit, like the organization is still there, but yeah, it's not the same route as when Cats was around. And speaking of same but different, here we are. Gonna be spotting into Simulac Rum, ya Philly LE by the C2 for 3 with me, buddy. Gonna have to slap your knee and throw away your keys in order to get ready to gas Jimmy boy all the way from Chile. We're here in the top left-hand corner of the map, spawning in the top left-hand corner of the map, the Texas base, if you will. We have the blue Protoss, and it's fitting because it comes from the country that has a very similar flag, that flag being the flag of Chile. We have, representing Alpha X LatAm division, it is Dastan.
And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Simulacrum LE, we have the Mexican Zerg player representing Timbers Esports. It is JimRising.
Now, I think that's a chimpanzee, but I kind of want it to be a bonobo. That's what we can say. Ah, yes, JimRising, the bonobo clan.
I agree. I 100% agree. That would be amazing to see. But yeah, we'll see how he shapes up. We're tied up 1-1, and I feel like both games were kind of games of information and whether someone was lacking it or not. Because again, Dastan, to be fair, last game it felt like Dastan was very indecisive. Like we saw him throw down that Dark Shrine pretty early on, and I don't think he ever used it.
Yeah, I think that was. I'm not sure. I think it might have been based on what he scouted or not. No, he did get one Archon. I'm pretty sure towards the end there. I could be wrong. And no, I think I'm wrong. He didn't get the Archon.
Yeah. It felt like he's like, you know what, I'm gonna do this, and behind this I'm gonna do this, and he's like, no wait, I'm gonna do this instead. Like it was just, yeah. I feel like he needed to commit a little bit more to one thing or the other, because I do think that maybe like DT harass would have helped out a lot more, right? I don't think there was much detection. It was unscouted. Yeah, like we were pointing out, right? Like it went unscouted. The Overlord came in a lot earlier and didn't see when it went down. So maybe some damage could have been done. It's hard to say.
That it is. And speaking of hard, Stargate coming up once again from Dastan. This time JimRising does see it fairly early on, and I'm thinking, I don't know too much about Dastan, but I'm hoping this could be just a mind game to throw JimRising off a little bit. We did see JimRising kind of overcommit to his defense the last time Dastan went for a Stargate opening, although he went double Stargate that time.
He could still be going double Stargate. We'll see, as we do have Dastan being pretty... Yeah, he's going pretty defensive. He's got a shield battery on the way. Oh my god, is the Stalker going to go down? It may.
It actually think it will. There is a probe in position, but could not get the block in time. And JimRising coming in with these 4 Zerglings. They shouldn't be able to get too much done. But yeah, this is still a fantastic scout coming along. Didn't even need it, the Overlord was around. But
yeah,
pressure.
Yeah, just disrupting your opponent, just getting a couple of worker kills here and there, and making sure that any other tech that gets thrown down, it will get scouted.
And now even forcing the Oracle to waste some of its energy here, and I guess actually quite a lot of energy.
Yeah.
Because there we go. Dastan turned off the Pulsar beam, but that means that actually takes away a little bit of energy there. I'm not sure what these drones are trying to do. Could actually get the mineral walk. And just go all the way in, but yeah, didn't really need to there.
Look, Jim. I was about to say he's like the Mia Michael of C, but not really. He's like the
Mia Michael of C
of Latin America. He's his own being, and yeah, I think it was just a misrally.
He is the Pollos Hermanos.
Exactly.
America has Chicken Man. Mexico has Pollos something.
They have Jim. That's it. They have JimRising. And I do love how vigilant Jim is being. He just keeps sending in overlords. He's trying to make sure he knows what is coming his way. Still hasn't seen the Twilight Council just yet, but I'm sure he will eventually. There it is. Another overlord. He has like 3 overlords, like all over the place.
Oh, he knows there's no anti-air here for Dastan. He's just flexing basically.
Yeah.
Hey, my overlords. You're not making use of this space, so I will.
Yeah,
JimRising has definitely learned his lesson from game number 1. Goes in and does see that Twilight Council. A lot of links coming along, and they do spot the triple Oracle. This is going pretty well for Jim, but it's still on him to get the defenses up. There's still quite a bit of time here for Dastan to take advantage of just the fact that there aren't that many spores up, the fact that he does have triple Oracle, which does very short work against Queens.
Yeah, definitely, but it looks like the second spore should finish up just in time. There it is, and there is enough here to defend the main base of JimRising. Meanwhile, these things couldn't really find any damage. Again, Dastan, he's looking pretty solid at his natural and his third base defensively, so he will be able to start saturating that third base. And again, JimRising, he's going for a similar build as game number 1. He's got +2 melee on the way, he's getting a Baneling Nest, and he's getting a Roach Horn.
What a guy.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see how this goes for him because it didn't work out in game number 1, but this game is playing out very differently.
Ooh. A lot of gates being thrown down by Dastan. Should be finishing up very soon. Charge gonna be on the way as well. And this is... I don't know, like, I feel like Dastan doesn't quite have the numbers or the position to really make use of Charge compared to what JimRising has got on the map. But
yeah,
with the Oracles does start to whittle down the Roach numbers.
I definitely agree, especially because this time Jim is making Banelings, so against Charge Loss especially, they will do so well.
They're just gonna charge into the depths, pretty much.
Pretty much. We'll see what Dastan's control is like, because we have seen a couple of high-level Protoss players keep their Zealots back, waiting for all of the Banelings to detonate first, but...
Ooh, does not even need them for the charges there. Uses it on the mineral line and gets 15 probes there. These charges trying to go in, but JimRising saying, you know what? I got you, fam. Manually detonates the rest.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. So much economic damage already done there by Jim. And defensively, like, he's getting all these Banelings, Roaches. Wow, he's even going for drops.
Vivid? Hello? I told you they were kindred spirits, like.
Yeah, and Dastan's main army, like, he does have a decent amount of chargeless, but only 1 immortal. Like, his robot production just hasn't been there for him. So I don't know about pushing out like this.
I'm watching these zealots. Ooh, good pull back from Dastan.
Oh,
very nice pushes as well, but not gonna be enough. These Banelings crash in, evaporate the army of Dastan, and JimRising, he's got to be smiling right now. In fact, if we go into a stream, he may or may not be.
Do you think if he wins this series, he's gonna dance?
I'm gonna load up his stream right now just to keep my eye on that.
Oh god. I mean, we do have some decent damage being done here. Zealots are being warped in at the main. He's dropping the third base. His Oracles at the fourth as well. So like, the damage is nice, and he's keeping Jim busy, but Dastan, he needs more than this. He lost so many units in that last attack.
Exactly. He is buying himself time, but I'm not sure if he just has resources to make use of that. We do see him just getting a bunch of units out now, but Jim is not gonna let that time pass. He is jumping straight forward. These Zerglings are getting taken out very easily. These are a lot of Archons, but the Roaches are gonna have a much different fight here.
Yeah, I mean, there is 1 immortal, and with a Warp Prism, Dastan looks like he's going to be able to hold. It looks like the reinforcements just weren't there for Jim, so Dastan, I'm
actually going to be able to chase this back, utilize every single part of his army. I want to point out just how key that was.
Yeah.
Use everything. What did one player say? As a Protoss player, in these sort of defensive positions, you cannot afford a single mistake.
And a lot of it is coming down to, like, he's been using his Warp Prism very well, and there's just not that much anti-air here for Jim. As I say that, another Baneling connection goes into the mineral line. Oh god.
Yeah, I guess he doesn't really need to for now. Jim, you know, he's doing a decent job of sort of zoning out the Warp Prism with his Biles, but Ravagers are starting to get taken out. The Bile, almost takes out the Warp Prism.
Yeah, and behind this,
Jim just running back home, tail between his legs.
Finally, we do see a Spire coming out for Jim, so he will be able to deal with these Oracles and the Warp Prism as well. And once that happens, It's gonna be difficult for Dastan, especially because his economy just keeps getting crippled.
Oh no! I just looked over at JimRising's stream. He did a slight frown after being chased back there.
I mean,
can't really blame him, but he is still in a fantastic position. Takes out all these Archons, or most of these Archons. Look at his stats between the Zealots and the Banelings. It's so careful.
Oh god, they were trying to run away, but
yeah, in the end, JimRising just was able to muster their defenses, really turn the tables there. And in the end, old mate Jimmy takes that series 2-1.
GG, and we'll see how the bracket turns out, because as that was happening, there's been a lot of matches already resolving, and I didn't get to mention it, but I would have loved to have gotten into some of them. Maybe we'll be able to sneak in mid-series, as the Zerg Lord is currently in his series versus Sinner. We do have Eggs versus Yanji as well in the upper half of round 2, which is a sick Colombia versus Brazil match.
And we already have our first quarterfinal slate.
Yeah.
Shelby versus Paco Mike. Hello. I remember Paco Mike. I don't remember why I remember him. I just remember he's one of the guys to look out for.
Yeah, he is
he took out Cham.
Yes, he is a Cham killer indeed.
A champion, if you will.
It's a little bit sad in the Battle of the Americas where he took out Cham. He got taken out in the finals. Like Paco Mike said, he didn't get to win. He met Cham in the semis, so it was a bit unfortunate. No, it wasn't even the semis; it was in the quarterfinals. It's crazy.
Oof.
Yeah.